first and foremost, in a way, an embassy is an expression of that there is another state who relates to the state that you are. I mean, this sounds a bit formal, but we are here, we're flying the flag, we're representing Norway in the United States. But on a more practical level, what we do is that we, in general, we look after Norway's interest in the United States on a broad political, economical, cultural, consular, which is very important. We make sure that Norwegians that somehow get into trouble in America, that they get consular help, anything from passports to things like that, and also our economic interest, very important.
And for you as the ambassador, what is your role in this?
Well, I'm sort of I'm charged with being head of the embassy on a daily basis. So it's in a way the running of the embassy, and then you are the person who is accredited. These are old-fashioned words, but you're accredited to the head of state. So I get to go to the president and deliver my credentials, which is actually a letter from the king to the president of the United States, just informing that there is a person here who represents my state.
What are the areas where there are the closest cooperation between the United States and Norway?
We have many, but I get this question quite often. Does Norway really, in a way, count? Are we too small? What is our? Are we of interest at all to the United States of America? The answer to that is yes, absolutely, but not necessarily across the board. I can start out with our cooperation in the defense and security field, which is very close and built on a long tradition, NATO and everything going back to the late 40s. Clearly a pillar of our relationship. We have huge interests in the energy sector, anything related to the oceans. As long as if you're offshore, offshore, the Norwegians will be there. We will have an interest. We have very close collaboration with the Coast Guard, with anything that goes on in the offshore fisheries. The U.S. is a large fishery nation. We sell a lot of fish here as well. It's our second largest hard currency earner after oil and gas. Then, of course, there will the defense industry, where we have not so many, but a few very active and competent companies. We have 5.5 million Norwegian Americans in America. We hear a lot from those. They're very active, although we're now talking many generations since they come.
How has the historical relationship between Norway and the United States been? How has it evolved over time?
Now, of course, there are a couple of strong factors here. One, the large Norwegian immigration. I mean, we think that close to 1 million Norwegians came to America. My grandmother was one of 12. The other 11 grew up over here. She was the only one left in Norway. And that every Norwegian has a story relating to the mass immigration. Then, of course, after the Second World War is crucial here. And what happened during the Second World War, we became allies, and then the establishment of NATO, and then you have the Cold War, etc., which built up through the security arrangements, through NATO, etc., build up a very sort of close relationships. Then, you have other factors that have come lately, commercial interest. We've had maritime interest. They've been for a long time. You've had Norwegian investments in the energy sector in America. You've had American investments on Norwegian continental shelf. And these things have, of course, developed a much closer sort of economic relations and business relations.
What are the areas where the two countries disagree?
We have in general, we have a very close relationship to the Americans in many fields. But of course, there will every now and then be political issues where we would view things from a different angle or not completely have the same views of everything. Now that is in many ways a good thing. We need to work together, and one needs to work together with also those that you not 100% agree with, and we would have our interests, and U.S. would have their interest, which you had to add to it. So without giving you sort of concrete examples, you know, our work as diplomats is to make sure that these things, when they occur, are handled in a constructive way. We don't have any large one at the moment that would come to mind, but it's part of your work to make sure that whenever there is a different sort of difference of view, you handle it in a constructive and professional way.